Waiters slash servers of Reddit, what is the best clapback you've delivered to a rude customer? Way back in the day, when I worked in food service, we had a customer who got a salad, and when she was finished placed one of her hairs in the bowl in order to get it refunded, and got the complimentary "I'm sorry" free bakery item. She did this every day. Finally the DM sat down at her table and told her this was her last day eating in the cafe. They would refuse her refund today and refuse her service in the future. She started to say something about the customer always being right, and he just put up a hand to cut her off and said, "You cause us to lose money every day. You're absolutely not our customer. You are a liability and you are no longer welcome here." Live in a small town. Worked in a fish and chip shop, one of two in the town. We were a tourism town, and one of the main attractions was the award-winning fish and chips, top 5 in the county. While I was there, people in the town believed we were in massive competition with the other shop. We weren't. We had 25 plus staff, they had around 7 to 8, and we were serving thousands more customers than them per week or even per day in summer. So, on the rare occasion, whenever a customer got angry, they would simply exclaim, "Well, I'm going to insert supposed competitor's name here instead, and I won't be back." Like it was a big deal, and would really hurt our feelings / business. We would simply tell them that we don't want them back, and they should enjoy the food from the other shop. We owned both shops. I was a witness to a silent owning that I get giddy thinking of. Buddy of mine serving a table, and the kid is around 8 to 10. Gives her an adult glass for her apple juice. Dad pipes up and says he doesn't want her having all that sugar, so he needed to take it away and come back with a kid-sized one. My friend replied that the glasses are the same size, the adult size just looks bigger because they have thick bottoms. The dad responds that the adult glass is clearly bigger, and like I said, I don't want her to have all that sugar. My buddy is an asshole. He gives a super deliberate exaggerated nod, says nothing, and marches to our little service alley behind the bar and re-emerges with a kid's cup. Said sit down beside the glass, picks up the glass and pours the adult glass, lifting it progressively higher until the last drops he drops from like a foot over the glass, and darts the fuck off to the kitchen without even looking at the guy like didn't even exist. I died. Not at a restaurant, but at by there having education week. Lady snapping fingers to student employee, "Tell me where the Marriott Center is." Student employee snapping back, "Try again." Bunch of drunks making a mess, wasting our time, and harassing other tables. Me, the manager has decided all off, you need to leave. We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone, and your behavior warrants it. Loudest drunk, fuck it, we are never gonna come back to this shithole. Me, that's exactly the point. Please leave. Served in Muskoka, Ontario years ago. Lots of celebrities in the area for the summer. Served Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn burgers, Martin Short, Dan Aykroyd, etc. Had a local nobody who thought he was a big shit celebrity. Would never tip, and would always crumple up both copies of the Visa bill into a tiny little ball, even chew on it till it was the size of a spitball. So this asshat comes in with a bunch of friends and treats them all to supper. $600 bill, crumples up the Visa bills again into the tiny little ball, and flicks it at me with a grin on his face. I swiftly kick it off the patio, and into the lake our patio is on. He sees this, and says in front of the table, "Guess you won't know what your tip is now." I tell the table flat out he never tips anyway, so no loss. And walk away. They leave. I call the police on a dime and dash because there is no evidence this guy paid. It's in the lake now, and I deleted the pre-auth from the debit machine. Cops go to this guy's house and make him return to the restaurant to pay. He wasn't an asshole ever again. Woman complained about her cocktail, saying she couldn't taste the alcohol. Could we make it stronger? It was already a double, but we added a splash. She still couldn't taste it. Could we add more? She was obviously drunk when she arrived, and angling to get more drunk as cheap as possible. Which is why I took her cocktail, apologized that it wasn't to her liking, and said I'd take it off her bill, effectively cutting her off for the night. Work for a moving company. Customers always get mad when we don't have the equipment available for them, when they show up last minute with no reservation. Well, I'll just go to competitor's name. Would always reply with exact directions. Great, they are a block north, on the right side. You can't miss them. never failed to get a disgusted scoff, but we would always see them again in an hour or so to set up a reservation when competitors didn't have any equipment either. We have sweet biscuits with icing on top. Every weekend this lady comes in, wants them fresh, with extra icing. But every time something is wrong, the main complaint being it's too cold, probably due to the extra icing being on top of it, which we have told her repeatedly. Well, this last time she came in, we give her the biscuit, fresh out the oven, loaded down with icing, and she still says it's cold. The manager tells her the only way to get it any hotter would be to melt the icing in the microwave, which we refuse to do. The lady has a conniption, demanding to know why. My manager, God love her, says because sugar is hotter than the 7 sons of hell when it's heated up like that, and no matter how much you deserved it, I be damned if I give you an excuse to have a lawsuit against us. Table of 10, Sunday brunch, fancy restaurant, I'm hungover. A crowd swarms in at opening and my whole section is sat at once. I'm efficient and cool, I'm used to this. I get to the big table and preface that water is being brought as we speak, then begin taking everyone's drink order. As I'm taking orders around the table, one woman blurts out that she wants water, and not to forget the water, interrupting her friends and family as they make their requests. I acknowledge her each time, until after the 4th time saying, if you ask for water again, I'll make sure everyone here gets water but you. She sinks back in her chair looking dumbfounded, and I go, put in the order then head to the bar. I'm quite feminine for a guy. I don't mind what people say or think about me, so I get confused for gay sometimes. That it's important for later. As I was working as cashier, a guy just went to me and started to say, and I'm quoting him, I don't understand how many gay people works in this restaurant. I don't even know if I want to eat here anymore. Lots of my coworkers are gay, and the way he said was not exactly kindly. So, when his meal was ready, nobody wanted to give it to him. So I just did what any sane person would do in my position. I took his meal, and you bet I fucking became a fucking Disney princess for like 5 minutes straight, walking like a model, calling him sweet names, being extremely touching and giving him the best attention I could. It was so fun. I had more than one of these encounters, since I worked as a waiter for quite a while. I remember a Karen wanting a sincere apology after insulting and berating one of my best friends there, and since I was the one in charge I had to do it. So, with the biggest smile I could put on, I went to her and said, I'm so sorry for all the things my coworker did to you. We all here know a lady like you deserves different, so let me help you. She was smiling like the crazy bitch she was thinking she won, but then I added, let me go with you to the door so you could find a restaurant that serves your kind, since you are not welcome here anymore. She was fumming. I still remember his face, lol. Then as she was leaving I said something like, I hope you have a day as wonderful as you deserve. She complained to management, but since I was always the good guy at work and my coworkers didn't say a thing, they let it pass. I worked at a restaurant in my hometown for years, and the most common rude thing customers would pull was lifting their empty cup with ice in it and shaking it at me, implying they needed a refill. My response was always the same. Are you making music, or did you need something? Use your words, shats. I'm not your dog. Not at a restaurant, but as a parking attendant at a ski resort I was allowed to clap back. The best one went like this. Guy, why can't I just park there? Me, because we have a bunch of school buses full of kids coming later, and we need to reserve this space for them. Guy, but I'm a good driver, come on, there's no parking anywhere else. Me, yes there is, you'll just have to walk a little bit further from your car to the lift. Guy, but I don't want to. Me, too bad, leaves for the bathroom, and comes back finding Guy and family getting ready where I told them not to park. Guy smirks at me, fills out a parking ticket, and places it on his windshield in front of him. Guy, hey what the hell man? Me, move your car now, or I'll tow it too. Not a server, but I had a few. When I worked at the Comcast retail center, one guy in particular came in hot, and was adamant that we doubled his bill. I look into his billing history and lo and behold he hasn't paid in 2 months. I point this out to him, and say let's be real, you haven't paid in 2 months, we are both white, and I guess my use of the phrase be real triggered something in him, because now he's complaining that I have shitty customer service and I should go work for McDonald's instead. I immediately respond, but then where would you work? I know Comcast is evil and all, but taking money from that asshole made my entire fucking week. I once saw an extremely rude guy picking on waitresses and just being a total dick. There was however one male waiter, whom he promptly summoned. Guy, another beer. Waiter, sorry, no more left. Guy, horseshit, bring me the fucking beer. Waiter, no more left for you. He then walked off, leaving the guy to himself. The rude dude then left the place quietly to my great surprise. Maybe not the most powerful comeback, but it was amusing to watch. I was working the counter at a ski resort's cafe. This teenage douche came up with french fries and said that he didn't bring any money, so could he just have them for free? I said nope. He said but I'm a good customer. And I said okay, but fries are for paying customers, and proceeded to take them away from him and pop one in my mouth right in front of him. He had nothing to say to that, but his friend cracked up and apologized for him. When I turned around, all of my co-workers were in awe of how perfect the moment was. Hosts had me a table with a couple and their toddler. The two sat on the same side of the booth, kissed, etc. So I knew they were a couple, but the woman looked much older, like she looked terrible. I'm sure it was drug abuse of some kind, but it was noticeable. So she's super rude to me the entire time. She asked for her eggs over easy hard. Our conversation went like this. Me, ma'am, your eggs can be over easy, which is kind of runny, or over hard where they're fully cooked. Oh, bless your heart, you have no idea do you? Me, ma'am. Why don't you get me a real server and he can make my eggs the way I like them? Me, UHH. Ma'am, I know how eggs are cooked. Over easy hard doesn't tell me anything. Do you want them over medium? How hard is your job? Honestly, how hard is it to just serve people eggs? I'd had it. I gave her order to the cook, and of course he asked me what she meant. I told him to just make them over medium, as I felt like that was what she meant. I gave her the eggs and she sighed real heavy. I'm sorry, was my order too hard? Did ya not understand me? What the hell kind of place is this, that nobody can make me eggs? I took a deep breath and said this. Ma'am, I apologize to you, your son, and your grandson. Let me go ahead and comp your meal. Her face twisted up and got so red I thought it was going to pop off of her face. This is my husband and that's my son. OHH boy, it was so worth it. Where is your manager? I need your manager right now. I got my manager. He yelled at me in the office, but couldn't prove that I was purposefully disingenuous. So I didn't even get written up. It was awesome. Kind of a long one. Working in a resort. Guest is a type of shithead that thinks he's fartless. You know the type. Obviously has to be the group leader of a table full of 4 to 5 other dudes. During my spiel I tell the table we are out of a certain thing. I don't remember what or why. I start taking the table's order and get to him. Tars, I'll have the thing. Me, as I said sir, we are out of thing. Tars, maybe I'll just call my good friend general manager and they'll find some for me. Me, you're more than welcome to do so, but the number on the business card you picked up at the front is an office number, not their personal phone. Also they're the one that just told me we are out of thing. Maybe if you called general manager in advance to let your good friend know you were coming we could have held some back specially for you. Now this may not seem all that destructive, but to this guy, at this table full of his colleagues, it was fucking brutal. He tried to save face, but it failed so fucking hard. Tars, well if you can't keep your food in stock then we probably should have gone somewhere else to eat. The gauntlet has been thrown down. Me, that's an excellent idea, sir. Would you like me to check if there is a table free at our steakhouse? Tars, yes, maybe then I can get some food. He starts talking to the other guys in the group, like somehow we are in the wrong here. They're all just looking at him, like he's a total fucking cunt, because he is. I go to the phone, call the steakhouse, and ask if they have space for one. They do. Good. Back to the table. Me, you'll be happy to know, sir, that our steakhouse is able to accommodate you, and will have a table waiting when you arrive. Tars, in the cuntiest voice he can muster, which is nowhere near as cunty as I could be, thank you for some kind of service. He turns to the rest of the table. Let's go, guys. Me, I'm sorry, sir. I was under the impression you would be dining alone and didn't ask if they could take a party this size. I assumed they'd be dining with us seeing as they all ordered items we have available. The guy just looks dumbfounded, and while he's standing there trying to process this shit, one of the dudes at the table chimes in. DT, don't worry about it, Taz. Head on down there. We'll meet up at resort bar for drinks later. Taz grabs his drink, says nothing, and walks out. He hits the door and the rest of the table goes into that quiet water bitch laugh that only men of a certain age and income bracket are able to do properly. The kind that lets you know this is funny now, but come Monday, that motherfucker's world is going to be slightly different in many small ways. The evening continues. Yes, this shit happened. Yes, I have more stories. Yes, I really fucking miss that job. Anyway, the evening continues, and sometime after I take that table their dessert, my general manager pulls me aside. GM, what the hell happened? I spent the last half hour getting yelled at by some guy that says you were super rude to him. I give GM a quick rundown. We did not have what the gentleman wanted, so I made him a reservation at the steakhouse. End of story. I have no idea why he would possibly be upset. His coworkers over at table number are having a great time. GM goes over to their table and starts talking to them, presumably starting with how their meal was and ending with what happened with the other guy that I saw with you. It was fucking beautiful. They had my back the whole way. They threw him so far under the bus for acting like a dick he rolled out the other side and got hit by a semi in the next lane over. They were nothing but complimentary to me, which was a nice bonus. GM came back over and told me everything seemed fine with them, shrugged it off, and went back to doing whatever GMs do. For anyone that actually read this far, just take this bit of information and carry it with you always. Nothing infuriates shitty humans more than someone doing exactly what they want done. Monkey paw style.